Introduction and Invitation. Hello there, weary traveler, and welcome to this quiet corner of history. You may be nestled under a warm blanket or simply looking to unwind with a calming, historical tale. I'm so glad you've chosen to join me tonight. Today, we journey back in time to the American colonial era, a time when winter's icy grip brought far more peril than most of us could ever imagine. A season when the changing weather wasn't just an inconvenience, but a genuine fight for survival. The colonial landscape and climate shift picture, yourself in the countryside of 17th century New England or Virginia. The last leaves have long since fallen from the trees, and the low sun casts weak rays that do little to counter the biting chill. Frosty fields crunch underfoot, and the breeze carries the first few flakes of snow. For the colonists, winter meant one thing above all: hardship. This era coincided with the height of the Little Ice Age, a period that brought some of the coldest temperatures in the last 1,000 years to the North Atlantic region. This climate shift made early colonial ventures particularly brutal. It is why settlements like Roanoke and Jamestown suffered so terribly during the periods of mass starvation known as the Starving Time. Crops failed, livestock perished, and the icy winds blew harder than any European could have anticipated. Life in the cabin and the struggle for warmth. Before central heating and well-insulated walls, the promise of warmth was a distant dream. Imagine waking up in a hastily built one-room cabin. Your breath mists in the air as you rise from your straw mattress, careful not to disturb your family members huddled close for shared warmth. The cold seeps in through every unsealed crack, chilling you to the bone. Your breath is thick with the smoke from the sputtering fireplace. A basic stone or brick hearth often failed to raise the room temperature above freezing, even when a fire was constantly burning. This was because most of the heat went straight up the chimney. Your crucial daily task: gathering firewood. It was back-breaking work. Your hands would quickly become raw and chapped, but you pressed on, knowing that without that fire, your family might not survive the night. To save heat, interior window shutters were kept closed, plunging the rooms into darkness, sometimes forcing them to burn expensive candles even during the day. The battle against hunger and community. The food supply from the last harvest was constantly dwindling. This scarcity meant a desperate battle against hunger. To prepare, colonists would salt and smoke meats, dry fruits, and store sturdy root vegetables like carrots, potatoes, and turnips in root cellars dug deep underground to protect them from freezing. If the main fire went out, there were no matches. You had to use flint and steel or, more commonly, send a child to a neighbor to borrow a hot coal or ember to start a fire anew. This simple act reinforced the necessity of community. In a world where survival hinged on mutual aid, checking on neighbors with an extra piece of firewood or a pot of stew became a profound sign of hope. Conclusion: the resilience of hope. But even in the face of such unrelenting hardship, there was a glimmer of light. They watched for the earliest signs with a keen eye: the gradual lengthening of the day, the slightest softening of the earth beneath the snow. The colonial people knew that no matter how brutal the season, spring would come again. Through the long darkness of winter, through the hunger, the cold, and the gnawing uncertainty, they held fast to the promise of renewal. And in doing so, they left us a legacy of strength and resilience that is nothing short of remarkable. May you find comfort tonight,